Welcome to Sports Law, COVID-19's impact on legal issues in the sports industry. I'm Brandon Leopoldis, the founder of Leopoldis Law, a sports and entertainment law firm based in Los Angeles, California. This course is designed to give you an insight into how the sports world has changed in light of COVID-19, the change in focus on some legal terms involved with contracts in the industry, and ways the practice of sports law and the sports business will change moving forward as a result of COVID-19. It's important to keep in mind that there's a lot of information that is constantly changing with COVID-19, so keep that in mind as you listen, where medical information will update as well as some of the liability issues will update throughout this. With the topic of COVID-19, it's ever evolving, and we expect that to be similar for the next few years. Just like every other industry, COVID has not spared the sports business or sports law. At the time of this recording, there have been more than 41 million persons that have been diagnosed and more than 665,000 deaths attributed to COVID-19 in the United States alone. In sports, many athletes have been stricken with COVID, and while some have not had significant issues from the virus, others have had COVID devastate their health and their careers and even put an end to their life. COVID has also disrupted the sports business. Sports, in general, is not a work-from-home friendly type of an industry. However, sports has had to adapt and overcome some of the regulations that have been put in place by governments to combat the effect of COVID-19. There's been limitations on mass gatherings, which has caused massive revenue disparity from prior years. Some teams have been displaced for at least an entire season, if not longer. Some professional sports have entirely shut down. Collegiate, high school, and other amateur programs have been paused, and there have been a number of other business effects. That goes without mention that often front office staffers, broadcasters, and all of those that make sports something enjoyable and watchable for those of us, at least in the United States, they've also been stricken with this. And so it's been a worldwide collective effort on how we're going to overcome this. And sports has adapted to COVID. It's developed some responses to COVID variants, some regulations that have been put in place, and public perception around sports has been better than almost every other industry, and that's because sports continued to adapt when other industries went on pause. We all remember the bubble with the NBA, but other leagues also put in a bubble protocol before the NBA did. There's been massive testing protocols to protect players, fans, officials, front office, the coaches, and everybody involved. They've had new roles to play in putting in implementations for fan and player safety for those in-person events. And sports was one of the first industries to bring back large in-person events. So let's go back and take a look at what happened and how everything worked in real time at the beginning of COVID, beginning in March of 2020. Sports really sounded. The alarm in America followed. The NBA season was suspended on March 11th when Rudy Gobert tested positive, and they suspended games that night. The NBA was very proactive. The following day, Major League Baseball canceled Major League Baseball spring training and sent everybody home. The NFL significantly altered their off-season programs on March 15th. And that's when America really paused for a few moments. But during that pause, leagues, teams, other officials started to look, how do we move forward out of this? And they started talking over the phone, through Zoom, as we've all become accustomed to now. And things started to take shape.